Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Bristol Motor Speedway, the world's fastest half mile. And despite straightaways barely 200 yards long, it's a very fast racetrack. The secret is in the variable banking in the 300-yard corners. You may not have much room to accelerate off one corner before shutting down for the next, but with steep banking up to 30 degrees, there's not much loss of speed when you get there. And the all-concrete racing surface provides great traction. With 153,000 seats arrayed in grandstands all the way around the racing surface, Bristol looks more like a football stadium on steroids than a typical racetrack. Veteran drivers have described racing at this East Tennessee Speed Emporium as the equivalent of flying a fighter plane in a gymnasium. So it's not surprising that every Cup Series race draws a massive crowd. Still, the best seat in the house is the one behind the wheel. It's sure not a relaxing one, with laps at speed ticking by less than 15 seconds. And the compact nature of the track means that there are infield pits on both the front and back straightaways, so drivers have that added complication to deal with. Opened for competition in 1961, Bristol Motor Speedway has had a number of remodels over the years, several owners as well. It's been under its current owner, Speedway Motorsports, that Bristol Motor Speedway has enjoyed its greatest period of growth. Tonight, it's the IROC Challenge Series Charity Motorsports 200. It's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway Round 1, Race 1 of the playoffs, the Charity Motorsports 200. Let's take a look at the race details for tonight. 78-degree ambient temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temperature 115 degrees Fahrenheit. 200 laps the distance, sage break at lap 35, 100% fuel, unlimited tire sets, 0 fast repairs, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. Practice and qualifying in the books here at the Speedway. Just wrapping up the warm-up session. About a minute and a half remain in this session. We'll take a look at the fast times. For now, it's TJ Majors with the 15.209, followed by Brent Butler, Aaron Smith, Brandon Mefford, and Brian McCann. Welcome back, everybody, to Track Limits Network. I'm Steve Singer, up in the broadcast booth here tonight after a little bit of a break, a little bit of travel, some off weeks for some racing, but we're back behind the microphone here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway as warm-up session here in the IROC Challenge Series winds down. Again, this is the first race of round 1 of the playoffs. Again, the Charity Motorsports 200 tonight. .31 cars to take the green flag here momentarily. Again, about 25 seconds before the black and red flags drop down on this warm-up session. There it is, session over. Majors fastest in the warm-up. Drivers just finishing up here. They'll pull down into pit lane here as the session expires. And, well, it's just that time. We'll get to our starting grid here in just a moment. And here we go on the pole position with a lap time of 15.206 seconds. It is the 6 of TJ Majors. And once again to the outside, missed it by 39 thousandths of a second. The number 1 of Lilith Peters, looking for that first win of the season. Row number 2 will be Aaron Smith and Brandon Mefford. Row 3, Brian McCann and Chris Mefford. Row number 4 belongs to William Tyndall and Chuck Sweeting. Row 5 will be Brent Butler and Adam Pettit. Casey Bentz will roll off from the 11th position. 12 starter Christian Strader. Kyle Hardy starts 13th. Evan Janik will roll from the 14th position. Neil Quick, 15th. James Pileski will start 16th. 17th starter in the number 15 will be Garrett Johnston. Steve Durbin will roll 18th. 19th position, Jason Nilgis. 20th, Chris Wally. 21st, Zachary Cleek. 22nd, Todd Cleek. Kyle White will start from the 23rd position. Shane Haas, 24th. Kevin McCann back behind the wheel tonight. The 25th position, Kyle Pendergraph, shown 26th. 27th goes to Doug Wysocki. Newt Quick will start 28th. Matt Kopp, 29th. Phil Chartier, I'm still messing it up. I can't figure it out. I know he's told me. He'll start 30th. And shotgun on the field from Charity Motorsports, the number 9 of Adam Benefiel. That's your starting grid here from Bristol Motor Speedway for the Charity Motorsports 200. Field working around the race course here. First of 2 pace laps. The green flag racing the next time by. Race details again here, 200 laps the distance, stage lap 35. Don't think the fuel is perfect here in this graphic. And no, it is not 75% fuel and 3 sets of tires over the wall. No fast repairs, that's right on the money, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered if we need them.
Green flag.
And there it is. Pace cars in, green flag in the air. We are underway from Bristol, and the Charity Motorsports 200 is green. Lilith Peters way up the racetrack already in the wall. Loses 3, 4, 5 positions as Majors and Aaron Smith now run 1-2 with Brandon Mefford in the 3rd spot. Couple of cars deeper in the field here, scattering slightly. Everybody gets back up onto the racetrack without problem. Back up front, Majors still leads. Battle is on for the 2nd position, side by side. Aaron Smith on the bottom of the racetrack in the yellow number 70. Brian McCann working around the outside. He's clear now, challenging Majors for the race lead. Brian McCann hammered down early here at Bristol, looking for the top spot. Side-by-side battle, back to start-finish. McCann takes the position. Majors now back to the 2nd spot. Battle now for 3rd. Aaron Smith on the inside. Outside lane starting to work here. Brandon Mefford goes around the 70. He'll take the 3rd position, and now Chris Mefford will set his sights on Smith. Look, Peters started outside pole, did not get a good initial start, got into the fence, not too hard, maybe just some cosmetic damage to the number 1 machine. She rides in behind Chris Mefford here, back under power, trying to get things gathered back up into another rhythm. Applying pressure to the 46. Peters takes a look to the bottom of the racetrack. Chris Mefford slams the door in a hurry. That wasn't very gentlemanly, Chris. Throw that out the window. It's race time. Chris Mefford trying to hang out at the top 5. Peters knocking on the door. Really shoved her nose in there, trying to do it again. Not enough space. What a battle we're watching here for the 5th position. Lilith Peters definitely has a fast race car, albeit has extra work to do after making a little bit of a mistake there on the initial start. On board with Chris Mefford. Peters gets the nose just alongside again, but Chris gets back on the power and puts a little bit of a distance between himself and the 1. Peters really driving it deep into the center of the corner. Chris Mefford backing up his entry just a touch more. Top 5 positions unchanged here in about 7 laps. McCann leads TJ Majors, Brandon Mefford, Aaron Smith, and Chris Mefford. We've seen this out of Lilith Peters a few times this season. She definitely has speed in that race car. It's a little early. She might be pushing that race car a little too hard. Don't want to burn the tires off that race car too soon. Let's go on board here with the driver number 1 as Mefford gets the fence off turn 4. Peters now to the inside. Meanwhile, Chris Mefford not going to bother battling with Lilith Peters now. Jumps to the outside of Aaron Smith. This will be for the 4th position. All you Aaron Smith fans out there, don't panic. We've seen this out of the 70 driver many times. He's very smart and wise behind the wheel of that machine, taking care of his stuff, not burning the tires off early. He'll just ride there in the 5th position for the time being. May even be willing to give up the spot to Peters, depending on how aggressive she wants to be. But no doubt, Aaron Smith can keep the fenders on that car tonight. He's going to be the contender for the win. 20 laps already in here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 10 miles complete. Peters starting to lose a little ground to the top 5, a couple of car lengths off the back bumper of Aaron Smith. In fact, the top 5 in general starting to separate a bit, with the exception of this 2nd place battle with Majors and Brandon Mefford. We got a repeat 1975 in the Track Limits chat. Says, hate that I'm missing it tonight, but anniversaries only come once a year. Good luck, team. Do it for Dale. I know Brian loves this place. And we got Zorku Aravar, I think that's what it is, saying Lilith's got this, just got to wait for an opening. That's over in the IROC TV side of things. Again, those of you new to the Track Limits Network broadcast, we do multi-stream to both platforms here on Track Limits Network and IROC TV. So whatever platform you prefer, they're both on YouTube. Just jump over there, make sure you give the like button to either one you're watching, and hey, maybe watch the first half on one, then switch over halfway. Give us a like over there. Ryan McCann still with the race lead. A power move at the very beginning of this race, just a few laps in, going from the 5th starting position, marching towards the front and making the pass on the outside to take the top spot. Again, TJ Majors in the 2nd position. Likely did not put up too much of a fight, and the caution is out. Looks like Evan Janik involved in this. Some damage, some pretty heavy damage to the front end of the number 7 machine. Zorku helping me out in the IROC chat says, you can just use Zorku. Perfect. That one I'll remember. Mr. Chartier, I'm still gonna screw it up. I apologize. I'm not doing it on purpose. First caution of the night here, lap 27. Ooh, some contact from the 19. I don't know if that was a brake check out of the 7. Let's go back and watch the replay to see if there's anything warranting that. Let's take a look. Just a moment ago, Evan Janik in the 7. Don't see the 19 anywhere here. Does Janik just lose this, or a little contact from Nilgis? Yeah, a little left rear contact, and it straightened out the 7 a bit, but he was already trying to correct it, and it just sent him up the racetrack nose first into the safer barrier. Lucky that didn't end his night, but with no fast repairs, if his night is not over, it's still not going to be a fun one. So
28 laps in, we're approaching our stage. Again, I keep saying stage break just because that's ingrained in my brain as a break, but in this series, the IROC Challenge Series, they no longer take a, quote, break at the stage. They just pay out some points and continue racing, which I kind of like. Especially in a place like Bristol, we don't want to add an extra caution if we can avoid it. Doesn't appear anybody took an opportunity to pit here. Again, only 30 laps in here at Bristol and only 3 sets of tires over the wall. 4 if you count what they start the race on. They're going to try and budget those tires to the most life out of them and the fastest lap times when it counts. Getting ready for the restart here. Pace car makes the left turn to pit lane. Barney with the green in hand. There it is. Green flag waves. We're back racing. Lilith Peters, another tough restart now. She's up the racetrack. Did not make contact with the wall this time. She runs still in the 6th position, just ahead of Adam Pettit. Pettit in the number 49, that teal-colored machine just behind her. Up towards the top of the racetrack, looking for 2nd spot. Chris Mefford around the outside of TJ Majors. How aggressively will TJ defend? Up the racetrack, Mefford tried to pinch the 6 down just a bit. There's about a half a car's width to the right side of the 46 on exit. And he's clear. Chris Mefford up to P2. See if he's got anything for Brian McCann here. He's got about a half second's deficit to make up. Brian McCann stretches his lead now to just over 1 full second, back to the 46 of Chris Mefford. That is an eternity here at this very fast half mile in Bristol, Tennessee. And lap times ticking by at about 15.5 seconds, so 1 second's advantage. It's pretty significant, as you can see. TJ Majors starting to apply the pressure on the back of the 46. He wants that 2nd position back. Caution is out as Majors gets to the outside of the 46. Chuck Sweeting and Chris Wally may have come together. Indeed, that is the case. And some heavy rear damage to the 75. Jason Nile just appears to have been involved in this also. Let's get a look. Already underway here as we catch this part of the replay. Pretty hard impact. Taking out 4-5 cars in this one. Going to back it up a little bit more here and watch exactly what happened here. Chris Wally in the 51, the black and white car in the high lane. Real high exit. He'll get a piece of the wall, a little too much for that matter. Sends him back down into the path of Chuck Sweeting, and the rest is going to be history. Pretty hard impact just there with those 2 cars, but an even harder one here, the inside pit wall. Sweeting gets shot back up the racetrack into traffic. Nile just is going to make pretty hard impact to the right side of the 75, and the 93 will come in and clip just a bit as well. Still, many of the front runners do not take the opportunity to come to pit lane. They stay out on the racetrack. First driver to make that pit stop appears to have been Steve Durbin. Now that goes back to lap 27. Almost a 15-second stop for Durbin, so I'm going to assume he took on 4 tires. So as they run, as we get set here for another restart, Brian McCann still the leader. So far, been the car to beat here tonight. Majors running in the second position after putting the car on pole. Brandon Mefford in third, started fourth. Aaron Smith in the fourth position, started in the second row. And Adam Pettit started 10th up to P5. Another notable name here that hasn't run the full schedule this season, but has been a menace in the past as far as pace. That's Kevin McCann. He's up to P6. Started 25th. Backstretch pits not in use here tonight. Field formed up 2 by 2 all the way back. Pace car comes to pit lane. Green is back in the air. Just like that, McCann out to the lead here again, about 2 tenths plus. Back to Major, side-by-side battle behind them for the third position. Brandon Mefford trying to take it away on the bottom side of Aaron Smith. Kevin McCann thought about following him through, but didn't have the space. A little bit of contact with Mefford and Smith. Sparks fly, but everybody continues to drive towards the front. This battle continues. Mefford on the bottom part of the racetrack now gets underneath TJ Majors, clears Aaron Smith. Mefford with some pace here early as well. Kevin McCann now up into the 5th position. First time he's been into the top 5 this evening. Again, up 20 positions from the start. He is moving towards the front. Much like brother Brian McCann, Kevin fast on road courses and really everywhere else for that matter. Still not a full-time driver in the series, but when he enters a race, more than likely he will be a threat. Further back in the pack here, this for the 16th position. Brent Butler in the number 76 has it. Now further behind them, Chris Mefford lost a bunch of spots. Now that was due to the fact he made a pit stop under the caution, so he's down in the 17th position, but with some fresh rubber underneath him. Short-term gain now, but he's going to have some pain later and try to save a set of tires for later on in this race. Durbin scrapes the wall just a bit as Brent Butler is trying to reel him in about a half car length between the 99 and the 76. They run this battle here behind the two of Neil Quick, but while they battle it out here, they're reeling the two in just a bit, a car length and a half now. Quick gets a piece of the wall, but now Durbin up the racetrack. That seemed to be a go ahead, Butler. You're a little bit quicker than me. I'm not going to fight you right now. So the 76 of Brent Butler now up into the top 15. Butler's got some pace here as he's right there now with Neil Quick. Butler with a shallow exit, sneaks to the inside of Quick. McNeil's just going to let him go as well. Talked about the two many times in the same breath as other drivers that are excellent at taking care of their equipment. Neil is not going to fight you for a position this early on in the race. He's going to take care of those tires, try to get the long run out of it, pick guys off later on when he can just drive right on by. Now behind Neil Quick, Durbin continues to free fall, now back to the 19th position, now one short of where he started. Quick follow-up on Lilith Peters. She's had a couple of close calls early on in this race, but she's still back there just outside the top 5, now knocking on the back door of Kevin McCann. Peters takes the spot, not quite clear yet, but there she goes. Now the one into the top 5 yet again. Lap traffic coming into play already here as the 4 of Nuke Quick has gone down a lap. Nuke now the first driver 1 lap down, so if the caution were to come out, he would be the lucky dog as long as he's not involved in it. TJ Majors in the 2nd position is still a half second back from Brian McCann and just barely scrapes the wall exiting turn 4. Aaron Smith now to the back of Brandon Mefford. Peters has got some pace. She's working her way up. She also took tires under that last caution at lap 40. She definitely has that advantage as she now goes to the bottom of the racetrack on Aaron Smith. Now these drivers likely aware of the fact that some drivers are on fresh tires. Of course, some are not. Varying strategies here tonight. They got 3 sets over the wall to work with. Peters now from 4th, makes the move to the inside of Brandon Mefford. Mefford might cross over here. A little contact puts Peters in the wall. These two have some history. They have gotten into each other in the past. Looks like they got away with it, but Peters, for the 3rd time at least, gets the right side into the fence. She's in the 3rd position, though. Last lap of 15.95 out of Peters, faster than the 2 drivers ahead of her. Lap traffic still in the mix, the 14 now. Kyle Pendergraph up the racetrack. Peters makes short work of him. Gap from the lead back to TJ Majors, relatively stable, just a hair over half a second. Now the situation, Brian McCann as the race leader, he can kind of control the race here. Majors back now 6.5 tenths of a second, but Brian doesn't need to push as long as he can keep the gap back to the 6. Doesn't need to really hammer down the throttle to turn crazy lap times to stay out in the lead. Now, if TJ starts to reel him in, maybe Brian picks up the pace a little bit. But as we said many times tonight, it is early. Can't win the race yet. Take care of your equipment. You got to be there at the end. But now Majors is going to have to worry about Peters. Peters now a car length from the second position of TJ Majors. Do a quick bottom of the racetrack, making some room for the leaders to race. Peters now looking to the inside, down to turn number 1. Gets to the door, bumper, and clear. Majors hangs on to the spot. Peters there, almost some contact with Majors, just to let you know I'm on fresher tires. Last lap for Peters and Majors identical, a 16-17. Meanwhile, McCann starting to stretch his lead as these two battle for the second position. Now Peters thinks differently, goes to the outside, gets there, threads the needle between Majors and the outside wall and makes the move on the outside, will take the second spot. So Lilith Peters now up to the second position with 80 laps in the books. Now Brandon Mefford setting his sights on Majors. A big run down the straightaway here. He'll keep the race car top of the racetrack. He'll have another run on exit here. See him close the gap. Not quite enough to make a move, or is it? He's really close. Gets to the inside just enough. Sticks the nose in, but not enough to get through. Mefford up at the top of the racetrack again. Now here comes the 4 of Nuke Quick. I don't know if Nuke made a pit stop here. Looks like he did about lap 73. Took a set of tires. It's almost like watching IMSA when we watch these races at Bristol when guys are on different tire strategies. Like you've got a faster class on the fresh rubber running down the slower GT cars. Not really the case, of course. These are all equally prepared ARCA-style race cars. And Mefford gets the spot from TJ Majors. Now Aaron Smith going to try and do the same. And here comes the 15, Garrett Johnston. This is for position. Johnston started back in the 17th spot. So Majors now back to the 5th position. Johnston up to 4th. Now Johnson looking for more alongside Brandon Mefford. Meanwhile, Peters was starting to reel McCann in, cut 3/10 into his lead. The leader's still trying to work through some lap traffic. Mefford up the racetrack. Garrett Johnston will have the position. Mefford with a big run, trying to take it back. He sticks it to the outside of the 15. Something happened here. I don't know if Brian McCann had a problem, but the deficit back to second place Peters has shrunk to less than 2/10 of a second. I don't know if McCann's getting ready to pit or if it's just a matter of the tires at this point, because Brian is still on his original set that he started this race on as we approach halfway. In a perfect world, Brian McCann would catch a caution right now. He'd be able to make that pit stop under the yellow flag and still have 2 sets of tires just parked there over the wall for the final 100 laps or so. McCann still leads. Peters challenging. McCann underneath Neil Quick. Puts the 2 a lap down. car. Didn't really allow Peters to get the wheel opened up all the way on exit. Cost her a little bit of ground, not much. Car length and a half still back to second place. McCann still leads. Tires have equalized between McCann and Peters. You can tell Brian has certainly put the work in this week. Well, I say that, but every time we ask him how much practice he's done, he's like, well, I just got in the car tonight, turned a few laps, and that was it. We'll see. My guess is if Peters makes the move and takes the top spot from McCann, you may see Brian hit pit lane soon after. Last lap for both the top two, identical the last time by, 16:11 for McCann and Peters. At the line this time, does it change? They did it again, 16:11. 2 laps in a row for the top two drivers. Peters maybe just running in the tire tracks of Brian McCann now. Potentially trying to learn what Brian might be doing, what makes him so good around this place. But no, Peters up the racetrack now. Aaron Smith has come to pit lane as Lilith Peters goes to the race lead. Just before halfway, Lilith Peters takes the top spot. Will McCann pit? Now Peters made her pit stop at lap 40. It's been a while since then, of course, just past halfway now. Brian McCann really stretching things out. And here he comes. Brian McCann going to come to pit lane. Brian really getting all he can coming to pit lane. We watched him practice this earlier on this evening. Made multiple efforts to come to pit lane in the practice session in anger. There is definitely a benefit to getting slowed to pit road speed at the very last second. It's a fine line to walk because you don't want to get in trouble by the speed police. But if you can do it, there's ground to be gained. McCann down and away, 15:38. Not a great stop for McCann. Peters now still with the race lead, reeling in the 3. So the pit cycle in process for some of these drivers. Again, there's varying strategies here. Some drivers pit during our last caution about 60 plus laps ago. And we got some trivia. Eddie Rose in the chat in the Track Limits Network. We haven't heard from Eddie in the chat as far as the trivia goes in quite some time, but the question is, what year did Michael Waltrip crash his car at Bristol? Well, more specifically, what year did he split the car in half at Bristol? I think that's what Eddie's asking, because I'm sure Mikey's probably crashed more than once at Bristol. He's been at this a long time. So think about that. Jump in the stream chat, either side, IROC TV or Track Limits Network. Let us know your answers. And, well, if we don't get one, I'm sure Eddie will help us out with that later on. But with that, 106 laps past halfway here. We're going to jump and do our side-by-side break. So stay with us. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be back after this.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, 120 laps in the books. Some chaos while we were away. Brandon Mefford making pretty hard contact with the wall. Did not bring out a caution. I think Brandon Mefford may be done here as Garrett Johnston now will come to pit lane. Following up on Eddie Rose's trivia, the Track Limits Network check, we had Zorku over in the IROC TV side. His guess was 1994, and he did specify it was a guess. I think it was prior to that. I'm going to go with 89. I don't even know. Mine's a guess, too. So, Eddie Rose, if you're still out there, let's have it. What was the year when Michael Waltrip tried to knock the wall down and split his car in half? Meanwhile, out in front, it's still Lilith Peters. Remember, Peters made a pit stop lap 40, so it's been some time since she's come to the attention to her crew and taken on tires. Meanwhile, Brent Butler will jump to the pit lane. Brandon Mefford in the chat says, who got me? Well, we were away at the split screen break, and all I saw was sparks and smoke and your nose flying off the race car. I didn't catch who it was. And without the caution, it didn't really trigger a replay for me, unfortunately. The benefit is all these drivers have the access to replays, so I'm sure Brandon will go back and take a look. Right now, only 3 cars on the lead lap. Cross your fingers we don't get a caution, folks. Peters, Strader, and Chris Mefford, the top 3. And Zachary Cleek and Adam Pettit in trouble. Does this bring out a yellow? Hope not. Fingers crossed. Get going, boys. And they continue on. Eddie Rose in the chat says 1990 was the year that Mikey Waltrip damn near lost his life at Bristol. Man, that was a crazy one. Remember, Mike Harmon had one very similar in the same spot. Eddie, while you're at it, what year was that? I think it was Mike Harmon. Brandon Mefford in the IROC TV chat says, nope, tight racing with lappers and lead lap cars. Todd Cleek in the Track Limits chat, if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Making me think about Stevie Ray. 130 laps in here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Lilith Peters continues to lead. She's got to find a way to finish this one off. She's been so close so many times this season. It may just come down to when the caution falls. If it falls in a time where she can come to pit lane under yellow and take those tires, she's got a great shot at this thing. However, if she has to pit under green, then she's got to cross her fingers that she doesn't get stuck a lap down if the yellow comes out after the fact. Either way, running a solid race. She started in the second spot, leads this race. She's one of 3 cars on the lead lap currently. Aaron Smith in the lucky dog position. Brian McCann in 5th behind Smith. Correction, Brian McCann to the outside as Lilith Peters comes to pit lane. She can definitely make it to the end here after this pit stop, and I believe she still has a set of tires over the wall after this, so if a caution comes out late, she can still come down and take full advantage. Right side tires going on the 1. Crew drops the jack down to the left side. Jack underneath the race car. Going to be a 4-tire stop for Lilith Peters. Sunoco race fuel in, drops the jack. She's down and away in 14.63. What a stop for Lilith Peters. Back out of the racetrack, Peters has dropped now down to the 8th position, but maintains her position on the lead lap. Correction, nope, she's a lap down. Gotta love timing and scoring. But she is in the lucky dog position, so now with a caution, she'd be back in that lucky dog position. New leader now, it's Christian Strader over Chris Mefford and Brian McCann. So now 7 cars back on the lead lap. Peters now on fresh tires. She's going to have plenty of pace. I think the smart thing for the 1 to do here is just to make some laps. Not run heaters. Don't be out there running qualifying laps knowing that you're going to likely have to run this set of tires all the way to the end, which is going to be a shorter run than what she just had. And she just had a moment there. Left side's below the yellow line. Upset the race car a bit. Chased it up the track slightly, but continues to drive forward. She's pushing the car hard. She's in the fence again there off of turn number 4. Got to settle in here. She's made her bed here. She's got to kind of lay in it. Let the race come to her. Race the racetrack now. Now Strader from the lead will come to pit lane. That's going to move Brian McCann back to the top spot with a 2-second advantage over Aaron Smith. Now McCann made a stop at lap 100. That was his first of the day. Eddie Rose in the chat again, confirming 2002 when Mike Harmon, I believe it was, did the same thing as Mikey Waltrip. And there we go. Lilith Peters back on the lead lap. Now she's 11 seconds back off the lead here, but she does have significantly fresher tires than Brian McCann right now, so likely will have no issue staying out ahead of the 3. She's got 33 lap newer tires underneath her. McCann's running a 16.04. Peters ran a 15.64 the last time by. Now, I'm willing to bet that Brian's trying to take care of his stuff here, knowing that this thing runs all the way to the end. I don't know what the fuel run is. With 75% on board, he may be okay to make it without having to make another stop. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. Aaron Smith still in the second spot, now 3 seconds in the rears. So if McCann's saving his stuff, he's still managed to put a bigger gap on second place and still running just over a 10th quicker than Aaron Smith. Chris Mefford having a strong night. He's in 3rd. Brent Butler back up to 4th, and TJ Majors in 5th. Followed by Lilith Peters, looking a whole lot like it did in the early stages of this race as far as the running order is concerned. Zorku in the chat definitely got his crew chief hat on, says if she makes up half a lap on the 3 on average, she'd need just 20 laps to get there, assuming it all stays yellow. She's got a decent shot. All stays green, maybe all stays green, I don't know. He's thinking over there, I know that's for sure. McCann now to 3.4 seconds over Aaron Smith. Brent Butler in 3rd, no pressure up the front or the back. TJ Majors about 6-8 car lengths behind. Chris Mefford in the 5th position, and Lilith Peters still P6, closing in on the 46. There she goes to the inside, takes the 5th spot. .49 laps to go. I really got to hand it to these guys. We're 153 laps in here, and the cautions have not been aplenty. We've seen some short track races earlier in the season with this group that just did not go very well. It was a caution fest as TJ Major is almost in trouble there. These guys have really put on a show here tonight. Minimal mistakes for all involved. Peters now into some traffic. Quick on the bottom of the racetrack. I think Quick has a little bit fresher rubber underneath him. He pit at lap 146 for 4 tires. And Peters underneath TJ Majors. A little loose on exit. Couldn't open the wheel all the way up. We saw that earlier, but that was with a lap car and Peters. Brandon Mefford says, here comes the caution, don't jinx it. It's not like we've run caution-free. We've had a few. It's okay. Even if it all goes to hell in a handbasket now, it's still been a good race. Peters struggling. This is very similar to what we saw earlier in the race, trying to get clear of the 6 of TJ Majors. She kept going to the bottom, even gave a little love tap to the 6, ultimately went to the top of the racetrack to get around him. But now Majors, remembering that, he opens the wheel up and goes to the top side, forcing Peters to the bottom. Pinching her down now just a bit. And there's the caution. Garrett Johnston has gone around.
Make sure everything looks okay.
All right, I guess you can blame me, Brandon. Yellow on the speedway here. This will get everybody tightened back up. Now the question is, who pits, who doesn't? Brian McCann last hit pit lane 60 laps ago. Let's see what happened here to the 15. Working to the outside of James Pileski. And just some contact. The 93 opens up the wheel, but wasn't clear of Johnston and just kind of hooks him down to the inside of pit wall. Puts him under the yellow, and it's going to be Brian McCann coming to pit lane. Who else? Better part of the top 5 does come to pit lane. It appears Peters is going to stay out on the racetrack and gamble here. Lilith Peters going for the track position. She last pit at lap 133. Tires not that old. I guess it's kind of right on the line of do I pit or do I not? She stays out and will inherit the race lead. Not all is lost. Peters has the talent. She did certainly seem to be quick later in the run. When everybody's tires started to equalize, she was able to keep pace. Now with the race lead, with the tire disadvantage, she's going to have to hold off Brian McCann, TJ Majors, Brent Butler, and Aaron Smith. Some of the best to turn a wheel here in iRacing. It's going to be a tall order. If anybody's got the ability, it's going to be the one of Lilith Peters. She's going to be hungry for that win. She's just got to hammer down focus and make no mistakes. Pace car lights are off. Half a lap away from the restart. Now, keeping in mind, Brian McCann, even after this caution, still has a set of tires sitting over the wall. He's playing this one perfect as the green comes back out. Peters with a great restart. Now down to the bottom of the racetrack. Majors with a good restart as well. Peters is going to have to hope for the 6 and the 3 to get to battling behind her. Up the racetrack, Majors makes a little bit of contact, it appeared, with Brian McCann. They are still side by side for second, and somehow it appears they're still gaining on Peters. They're right there. To the inside, TJ Majors looking for the race lead. It was a little bit of contact from Brian McCann to the back bumper, but Majors retakes the top spot. Remember, he put the car on pole. Really hasn't been back to the race lead for quite some time, but now the closing stages of this race is there when it counts. Peters now slips to third as McCann goes around the outside. Now Aaron Smith going to do the same. They're going to freight train around. Tires matter, but will there be a long enough run here for it not to matter as much? Back out front, battle for the race lead. TJ Majors, Brian McCann, 1 and 2. Aaron Smith runs in the third position, all in the frame. Fast lap last time by. Aaron Smith, the fastest lap of the race, 15:26 out of the number 70 machine. Peters has fallen back to the 6th position. Top 5, Majors, McCann, Smith, Butler, McCann. Sounds like one hell of a law firm right now, but 8 cars still on the lead lap. Further down the line, it's Lilith Peters in 6th, Christian Strader 7th, and Steve Durbin is 8th. Garrett Johnston, who's involved in the last caution, the first car 1 lap down. If the yellow comes out, he'd be back on the lead lap. Got Brett Balch in the chat, says great race. So far, so good. Only a few cautions, and with 30-plus cars here at Bristol, that's a feat in itself. Considering one of those cautions was not a stage break. Sorry. I'm losing it. Zorku in the chat, gotta be hoping for a caution now. Again, I don't know if that's necessarily the right call there, because again, Brian McCann still has a set sitting over the wall. So does TJ Majors. In fact, he may have 2 sets still sitting over the wall. His last stop only 9.3 seconds. Might have taken 2 only. And Kevin McCann may have taken 2 tires as well. 23 laps to go. One car in the wall. I think that was the 62 of William Tyndall. Indeed, it was. Majors now putting some distance to Brian McCann, about 3-4 car lengths. It closes to about 2 or 3 now, as McCann also trying to hold off Aaron Smith as they cross the line. Smith about a car length off the back bumper of the 3s. We've got 20 and a half laps to go. Got to give a call to Brent Butler here. Started 9th in the 4th position. Having a solid run here tonight. Kevin McCann, same story. Again, started 25th. I don't know if he just opted not to qualify or had a poor qualifying attempt. Started very deep in this field, but in contention for a top 5 here. 18 laps to go. Last lap for the top 3, 15:72, 64, 63. TJ Majors controlling the pace of this race, but likely going to be a little bit slower here as he appears to have only taken right side tires on the last pit stop during our last caution. Real loose on exit of turn 4 for Brian McCann. Still maintains the second spot. Now 15 to go. Brandon Mefford in the chat says, asking if Brian and TJ only took 2. Majors appears to have only taken 2, but McCann and Aaron Smith did take 4. So did Brent Butler. Kevin McCann, though, in 5th, appears also right side tires only. Leaders starting to encounter some more lap traffic. I think it's the 99 of Steve Durbin in the 8th position. We'll go down a lap here momentarily. Durbin made a pit stop way back on lap 99. Durbin trying to keep it way up the racetrack. Give the leaders as much room as possible. He does so. Last lap for the top 3, identical. 15:85 from 1st to 3rd. Majors with 10 laps to go. Going to see 9 laps to go as they're still working through some lap traffic. That's given TJ a little bit of breathing room. 3, almost 4/10 back to Brian McCann. Peters now losing a spot to Christian Strader. Strader took a pit stop at lap 162 for 4, so Peters now the last car on the lead lap. Top 3 starting to separate here as we've got just about 5 laps to go. Majors off of turn 4 will cross the line here. 5 left. Brian McCann second. Aaron Smith was third, but Butler now takes the 3rd spot away. Aaron Smith starting to drop back now into the 4th position. That's going to leave Majors and McCann to battle it out for the win, it seems, if we can run green to the end here. Lap cars way up the racetrack, a little bit of contact. That's going to slow the run for 3 of Brian McCann. It's going to cost him about 1.5 to TJ Majors. Majors continues to lead with less than 3 laps to go. Still working through some lap traffic. Majors to the bottom of the racetrack under Kyle Pendergraph. Off turn number 4. Going to see the white flag. Final lap from Bristol. McCann is there. 0.2 of a second off the back bumper. Does he have anything here? As Pendergraph up to the outside. Doesn't allow TJ to get the great arc into the corner, but here it is. Off of turn number 4. Checkered flag is waving, and Majors will win it. Brian McCann will come home second. Brent Butler picks up third. Aaron Smith fourth. Kevin McCann fifth. Strader sixth. And Peters will finish a disappointing seventh after the run that she had here tonight. Race win in the books for TJ Majors. Making a little contact with Pendergraft there post-race. TJ is going to go an extra lap here. Run it down the backstretch pits. TJ's looking for victory lane. And he has found it. Up the ramp. And that'll do it. We're going to step aside here, get our break out of the way. We'll have our top three finishers, hopefully, in the broadcast booth after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Charity Motorsports 200 in the books. TJ Majors from pole will take the win. See if we can get a word with the driver of the number 6 machine and pull TJ up into the track limits booth. TJ Majors, it's Steve with track limits. You got me?
I got you, Steve.
TJ, congratulations, man. A 3rd win on the season, this time from the pole position. With a daring pit call late in this race, it appears for 2 tires. What was the plan there coming to pit lane? Was it 4? Was it a last-second audible to take 2?
Of course it was 4. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was a last-minute call. I kind of knew that was going to be my only shot to come out up front and try to hold them off, and I'm pretty good at making my car pretty wide when I need to. So I know, being up there with Brian's going to race you clean, and I figured up there with him and the 1 on old tires as well, I thought we could get around the 1 pretty quick. So I think 2 tires gave me the best shot to win, and luckily it worked out. I kind of got lucky getting underneath the 1, and maybe was able to get by, and Brian got held up a little bit. So yeah, I was able to get clear, and I knew it was going to be hard for Brian to get around me at that point.
2 tires certainly giving you the track position, and it seemed that all night, at least tires made a pretty big difference, but you had the pace there late in this race. In many cases, the 3 of you guys running almost identical, in some cases identical lap times. What kind of handling changes did those 2 tires cause?
And it was really fine. It wasn't any different with the fuel out and the 2 tires. It was snug still, and it drove fine. If anything, you had to guard being a little bit tight still on exit, and that, I knew if I could control that for the last run, that it'd be, Brian's really good at driving really fast, really early, and I knew if I could get away and keep up there for 15-20 laps, he'd probably get his stuff a little bit too hot and too worn out, and it'd be a real hard pass at that point. I think I didn't want a short pit early like some of them guys did. It probably cost me the track position there in the middle of the race, but the way the yellows come out, if you short pit and the yellow comes out, you're going to be caught so far a lap down that it's going to be hard to recover from that, which happened to some people there. So I just ran long and was going to try to come out of there with a top 5, and things worked out.
Speed and strategy got it done for you here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. You pick up the win as we roll into Talladega Super Speedway next week. Certainly a much different style racing we're going to deal with next week. Drafting, what's your thoughts on that next week at Dega?
I have really bad luck in this series at the drafting tracks. I run really good, but then I always get wrecked. So I don't know how the playoffs in this deal work. Hopefully that win will help carry me a little bit further if I do get wrecked. So yeah, just try to get up front there and control the race, and Talladega's so wide too that you're going to need help there, so probably have to get with a few of these guys and see who we can work with, and who I can work with, because I know there's a few of them that have 3 or 4 on a team, and they're gonna, if they get a chance, they'll do everything they can to kind of keep you out. So gonna have to find some allies and make it happen.
TJ Majors looking for some dancing partners next week. Congratulations again here tonight. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Everyone's pretty good tonight. It was a lot of fun running. Guys, lappers were certainly respectful. People were, giving each other room, and to have long runs like that at Bristol is pretty good. So I think just the respect to the lappers and people you're racing around.
All right, TJ, congrats, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week.
All right, thanks, man.
TJ Majors, your race winner here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Next, we'll talk to runner-up Brian McCann. It's going to be a tough one for Brian, I think. We'll pull him up into the booth and get a word with second place. Brian McCann at Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
I do.
Brian, congratulations, man. I know second certainly not what you were aiming for tonight. You had a very fast race car, especially right out of the gate, going from 5th to the race lead in the first handful of laps. What was the difference maker here tonight? You had 4 tires to TJ's 2. Was there anything you could have done differently?
Go back in time and not throw that caution. That I was setting sail, and I was liking the seas out there, and I was hoping it'd run out, but no, that caution came out, and yeah, you're right. I took 4, he took 2, but trying to navigate around, I forget which car that was on that restart, it helped me up a little bit, and TJ, man, he figured it out there at the end. He was really fast, so I was trying to debate how I was even going to attempt to pass him. So I couldn't do it there at the end, but shout out to him for the win there.
TJ had mentioned that he's real good at making his car awful wide when it comes down to the end of these things. Was there some blocking involved there that you didn't take too kindly to, or was it all pretty clean?
No, I don't think he ever blocked me. I tried to get right up on his bumper and do like a crossover maneuver, but it just didn't have the tire to do it. And I noticed that once you got on the bumper, it got arrow tight on you, so that made everything even worse. So I tried to back off some, get another run, back off some, get another run, but I could never make it happen.
Second place finish to start round one of the playoffs. We got Talladega Super Speedway next week. Certainly a crapshoot, as that always is. How do you prepare for the Super Speedway?
Close your eyes, open up iRacing, and hope everything goes well.
Fair enough. Brian, second place, congrats. Who do you want to thank?
My family, all of our sponsors, you for doing the broadcast, drivers, amazing race tonight, low number of cautions, and spectators, everybody who was watching, thank you.
Thanks for talking, Brian. Well, good luck next week. Brian McCann, your runner-up here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to pull the driver, the number 76, into the booth, Brent Butler, and get a word with our third place finisher. Brent, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Brent, congratulations, man. A solid run, ninth place qualifying effort, drove it home to a top three finish. Walk us through your evening. I mean, you worked through the field. We saw a little bit of you. You weren't making a whole lot of noise out there, but you just quietly worked your way towards the front. What was the difference tonight?
Yeah, luckily I hit the pit strategy right, so that caution lap 44 or whatever, I saw a bunch of people disconnected, and I was like, if there's going to be a green flag around, it's going to be now. So I went ahead and pit, and most of the field stayed out, so then it was just about keeping my nose clean as I came back up through and split the final run. So I think if it stayed green at the last run, I think I had a shot at it, but I had to come down and deal with the fast guys at that point on the restart. So,
well, tonight, third place finish. You were one of those fast guys. You earned it. You passed Aaron Smith on the racetrack, so that was a job well done as he started to fall away. We look forward now to pack racing at Talladega next week. Obviously, as we said to Brian McCann, it's kind of the luck of the draw out there, but how do you put luck on your side when you go out to the Super Speedway?
Yeah, so I've never had any luck with hanging out in the back. I mean, even Daytona in this league this year, I kind of just tried to stay up front the whole time and, you know, try to figure out who I'm going to be able to work with at the end. And it's really just about being in the top 5 or 6, you know, closing laps, and then you just let it play out.
Well, Brent, again, congratulations. Another solid finish here. Third place at Bristol. Who do you want to thank?
I just want to thank Chris Wally. You know, he's always a nice guy and puts a lot of effort into this, so appreciate him.
All right, Brent, thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at Dega.
Thank you.
Brent Butler, third place finisher here at Bristol Motor Speedway. That'll do it for the interviews for tonight's race. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 already. That was TJ Majors, Brian McCann, and Brent Butler. Fourth place was Aaron Smith. Kevin McCann, in a limited schedule, finishes in 5th after starting very deep in the field. Certainly the Hard Charger Award, if there is one, goes to the driver of the 33. 20 spots gained to finish P5. 6th place was Christian Strader. And heartbreak again for Lilith Peters. Still a solid race, led a bunch of laps. Caution killed her this evening with the strategy. She finishes in the 7th position, but she got this one in. Wasn't taken out by a wreck. Didn't make a major mistake to kill her night. She drove it up to a 7th place, a solid top 10, certainly well earned, but I think she's got more that she wants to get going down through the rest of this season. I see a win in the one's future. 8th place was Steve Durbin. 9th was Garrett Johnston. Adam Pettit started 10th, finished 10th. Casey Benz started 11th, finished 11th. Neil Quick finished in the 12th spot. William Tyndall was 13th. Zachary Cleek finished in the 14th position. 15th place was Shane Haas. Chris Mefford finished in the 16th spot. 17th went to Kyle Hardy. Doug Wysocki was 18th. Kyle White, 19th. Kyle Pendergraph was 20th. Matt Kopp, 21st. James Pileski, 22nd. Chris Wally, 23rd. Nuke Quick finished in the 24th spot. Brandon Mefford, after contact mid-race, damage to his race car, he finishes deep in the field, 25th, 89 laps down. Chuck Sweeting was 26th. Jason Nilges, 27th. Evan Janik, 28th. 29th was Todd Cleek. Phil Chartier was 30th, and Adam Benefiel looks like did not take the green flag here tonight. He'll take credit for the 31st and last position. Thank you guys on both platforms, IROC TV and Track Limits Network, for joining us in the broadcast tonight, jumping in that stream chat. I love it when you guys are active. Zorku, man, you're a rock star over there. Brandon Mefford, even though he was out of this one early, still jumped in the chat. We appreciate you guys, racers, jumping in there and at least saying, hey, we do appreciate that. If you haven't already done so, hit that thumbs up, the like button. That helps us. It pushes these streams out to some fresh eyeballs that may or may not know what's going on here in the IROC Challenge Series. It helps us here at the channels, and it helps the league. Maybe some interested drivers going forward. We'll see how that plays out. But that's going to do it for us here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Again, I'm Steve Singer with Track Limits Network, congratulating TJ Majors on the win here in the Charity Motorsports 200. We'll see you guys next week at Talladega. Thanks for watching.